Hey friends, it's Gordon Page. I'm out here in Hudson, Colorado. I'm at the Vintage Aero Flying Museum. It's the home of the Lafayette Foundation. And so I'm out here with a bunch of dummies here, and we're actually doing a pretty big project, and that is to save some history, but actually relocate it to a new place on the East Coast. So today I want to take you around a bit here and show what we've been working on the last 3 days. We've got unbelievable amounts of dummies here. I'm not talking about these guys, but I'm talking about all the stuff we've had to move from the collection here, and it's taken a whole bunch of effort. I want to introduce you guys to Andy Parks.
Hi.
Andy is the president here of the Vintage Aero Flying
Museum
and
home of the
collection.
Lafayette Foundation.
Okay, cool. And so Andy, give us a little bit of what's going on here and where are we going with this collection of incredible World War I uniforms and memorabilia?
Sure. Well, I've been the curator of our 3 generations collection that we have in World War I. That my grandfather started, my dad amassed the majority of, and I've been continuing. And it's come to a point in time where I literally can't maintain it and keep it in a proper situation anymore. So I'm grateful that now we're going to take it to the American Heritage Museum and put it in a display where everybody can see it, and it'll be preserved for the next 100 years.
That's awesome. So why don't you show us over here some of the boxes and like what do we start with? And what do we have to do to ship this thing?
It's, we start with our mannequins because everything that we did, we had on a mannequin that resembled the person whose material it was. So now we have over 30 some odd boxes that contain mannequins with their uniforms of people such as Ken Porter, Doug Campbell, and these uniforms now will move over to the Heritage Museum and be displayed in their new display that they're putting together.
It's great. So what I know it's taken a while here for us to wrap all this up and put them into what we've kind of made like cardboard coffins.
Yeah.
But we start with a guy like this, and then we end up doing something like this over here. So we're actually taking the uniform off, taking the artifacts out of the pockets, and man, it's a lot of work.
It is. Well, and you have to realize that some of these uniforms and pieces have been on the mannequins for over 50 years. Wow. And so we're talking 100-plus-year-old material, and now we have to be careful with it to take it off or ship it with being on the mannequin so it'll stay on the mannequin until it gets to the East Coast and then come off and be basically preserved at that point.
Well, I know that, literally we created this kind of rotisserie system here. It's been amazing. But take a look at some of the materials we've had. So basically what we have to do is we start by building a box, and that takes a little bit to do here. And the reason we're doing that is that we started into this deal and we ran out of material. We're running low on material. We're just making sure that we have plenty to go around here. So you can see each one of these boxes is marked with a number here. I'll give you an idea what it looks like down underneath here with the mannequin. That's a guy that's already been rotisserie. And what's happening is Andy's up on the mezzanine. He'll start through one of the showcases up there, removing all of the books, all of the memorabilia, including the information about the pilots themselves on that. So I got Joe Shield over here. He's actually working really hard. Joe, tell us a little bit about what you're working on here and what's the efforts?
Well, these are what's very interesting is there's a huge collection of memorabilia and artwork. The artwork has been framed for probably, in some cases, 50 years. So before it goes into the box, every piece has to be looked at, stabilized. In this case, the frame is deteriorating, so we're going to bolster it with tape, then bubble wrap it, safely enclose it, and then pack them gently so that everything survives the journey. Well, the glass and everything is, serviceable in all these things. Eventually these will all have to be conserved with good UV stuff. So the main thing is to protect it for shipping, and then once we can unbox it and get at it, the curators and the artifact stabilization people will get to look at it.
That's awesome. Speaking of stabilization, here comes Andy with the dummy right now. I'm sorry, not you, Andy. He's bringing an actual one of the mannequins down here, and you can see physically this has been incredible. Yesterday, I walked 8 miles doing my part here, and again, we got to be really careful about how we bring down some of these mannequins. and get them prepared for shipping back to the American Heritage Museum.
So this material here is 1916.
Wow.
So
you can see it's in incredible condition because you and your family have done a wonderful job of preserving this, Andy. And it's, like you said, going off now to a different level of museum, is what I would say. And I know this has been a
challenge,
an amazing journey, right?
Well, it's been a challenge emotionally because it's like giving it now out of my charge to another museum, but in reality, I recognize it's the best thing that can happen because now we can put it again in display where people can see it and in a better situation.
That's great. Well, I know we've worked on this for a long time, about, I'm going to say 3 years now?
Oh, at least. 4,
5?
Maybe a little longer.
I don't know, it's been a while here. But a lot of that, I'd like to introduce Rob Collins over here, the Collins Foundation, American Heritage Museum. Rob, I know, look how hard you're working here on doing all this stuff.
We're all packing up for the last few days.
Rob, you spend the most time, actually going in here and marking everything and carefully packing. I wish I could say I'm that good, but I'm not that good. I mean, look at Joe's stuff here, what he's working on right now, compared to what Rob's doing. So Rob, what's your expectation?
He's not very good at wrapping Christmas gifts either.
No, I know.
But this is designed to survive the journey.
Right, it's nice and light here on that. Rob, what do you think about all the effort that's gone into this? We've talked about this for years, and you want to tell the audience here kind of where is this going?
Well, first of all, this is the most amazing collection of World War I small personal artifacts, aviation artifacts. You name it, most of the aces are represented here. American, French, British, Canadian, German, Austro-Hungarian, Turkish, Italian. It has everything. And it has the most important of the American aces. It has Eddie Rickenbacker's uniform. It has Douglas Campbell, the first American to shoot down an enemy aircraft as a pilot. The first American to shoot down an aircraft, which was actually an observer flying with the French. Lafayette Escadrille, all of these incredible uniforms. But not only that, they tell a personal story. And it's because of Andy and his dad and his grandfather, they've built these stories up. They've preserve these stories because they knew these guys firsthand. And that's something that if you were just to find one of these, if you're lucky enough to find one at an auction, you wouldn't have all of those stories of when they went back to Paris with some of these aces, with Ken Porter, and he talks about what life was like. So this is really bringing the human element to a time in our history which most people don't have a personal connection to anymore. So we're trying to make that personal connection for people when they come through the museum.
That's awesome. So we've had 3 wonderful days here, guys, of working on all this, and the next step is to load it on a truck here and then get it on the road to Massachusetts. So that's going to be our next thing that we do today. This has been a huge effort, but it's something that is a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And Rob, stop giving me the freaking finger here. What is that all
Giving
about?
one another the finger. All this hard work, I figure I should give you the finger. So
that's great. Hey, I love you too, Rob. Thanks for being with us here today, folks. And we'll continue with some more chasing planes here in the future.